She gave birth to triplets, and her husband asked for a divorce, but her reaction left everyone speechless. Jessica Wilson held the three tiny beings against her chest when Michael slid the papers toward her. After 7 years of marriage and 5 years trying to conceive, the miracle had finally happened, but he couldn't hide the desperation in his eyes. "I can't do this anymore, Jess. It's not going to work," he said, avoiding looking at the babies sleeping peacefully in her arms. "What do you mean it's not going to work?" she whispered, still weak from the nearly 20-hour labor. "It's 3 kids, Jessica. 3. How are we supposed to afford all this? The house, the car, the bills we already have. Now multiply that by 3. Diapers, formula, doctor visits, school someday." Michael ran a hand through his short hair, a gesture she knew well. He always did that when he was nervous, but she had never seen that hollow look in his eyes, as if he was staring at a blank wall. "Michael, we always wanted children," she argued, adjusting little William as he began to stir. "1 child, Jessica. We talked about 1 child, not 3 at once." Dorothy, the nurse organizing medications on the nearby table, stopped what she was doing. In 30 years on the job, she'd seen it all, but this situation left her furious. How could a man abandon his wife at the very moment she needed him most? "Are you sure about this?" Jessica asked, struggling to keep her voice steady. "I am. I already spoke to a lawyer. The papers are all there. You just need to sign." Michael placed a pen next to the documents on the hospital table and headed for the door. He paused before leaving and glanced back one last time. "I'm sorry, Jess, but I can't do this. I'm not the man you need right now." The door shut with a sharp click that echoed through the room. Jessica was left alone with the 3 babies, feeling as if the ground had vanished beneath her. Emma, Ethan, and William slept, unaware that their lives had changed forever in their first minutes of existence. Dorothy approached the bed, seething at what she'd just witnessed. "What kind of man does this?" she murmured, checking that the babies were settled. "Sweetheart, you can't let this slide." "What can I do, Dorothy? He's already made up his mind." "Oh, you can do something. I know his sister, Jennifer. She works at the health clinic in the neighborhood. She needs to know what kind of man her brother is." Jessica looked at the divorce papers on the table. The words seemed to blur before her tired eyes. 5 years of trying to conceive, draining their savings on treatments, enduring daily hormone injections, endless appointments, painful exams. All of it had led to this, being abandoned. "Did he say anything about money? About how he'll help with the kids?" Dorothy asked. "Nothing. I think in his mind, if he doesn't sign the birth certificates, he won't have any responsibility." "Oh, but he will. The law's the law, honey. A father's a father, whether he likes it or not." Dear listener, if you're enjoying this story, don't forget to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It helps us newcomers a lot. Now continuing. Dorothy left the room determined. She'd known Jennifer Wilson for over 10 years, ever since they started working together at the Williamsburg Health Clinic. If anyone could talk sense into Michael, it was her. She grabbed her phone and dialed her friend's number. "Jennifer, it's Dorothy from the hospital. I need to tell you something about your brother." On the other end, Jennifer was just finishing up with a patient when she took the call. What she heard left her speechless. "He asked for a divorce? Jessica just gave birth." "Jennifer, I saw it with my own eyes. He showed up here with the papers already done. The girl is alone with 3 newborn babies and he just walked away." "Where is he now?" "I don't know. He left an hour ago, but you need to do something. That girl doesn't deserve this." Jennifer hung up the phone and cancelled her afternoon appointments. She needed to find Michael urgently. She knew he lived in a small apartment downtown, not far from the hospital. Meanwhile, in the hospital room, Jessica was trying to process everything that had happened. The babies woke up almost at the same time, as if they'd planned it. First Emma, then Ethan, and finally William. Their cries in unison filled the small room. "Easy, my angels, Mama's here," she murmured, trying to soothe all 3 at once. But her hands were shaking. How was she going to do this alone? How could she take care of 3 babies without help? without money. The apartment she shared with Michael was barely big enough for the two of them, and now there'd be four. The door opened and in walked Mrs. Ruth, the hospital cleaner who always stopped to chat with the new mothers. She was 62 and had raised 6 kids alone after her husband left her. "Sweetheart, what's going on here? I heard the babies crying from the hallway." "Mrs. Ruth." Jessica's voice broke. "Michael left. He asked for a divorce." "What do you mean he left? What about the babies?" "He said he can't afford to raise 3 kids. He brought the divorce papers already filled out." Mrs. Ruth shook her head, furious. She'd seen a lot of terrible things in her life, but this crossed the line. "Listen here, honey, you can't fall apart now. These babies need you strong. Where are your parents?" "My dad passed away when I was little. My mom lives in Rochester, but she's sick. She has heart problems and can't travel." "What about his family?" "He only has a sister, Jennifer, but I don't know if she knows anything." Mrs. Ruth helped Jessica get the babies ready for feeding. It was tricky because all 3 wanted to eat at the same time. "I'll teach you a few tricks, sweetie. With 6 kids, I learned how to juggle." Jennifer arrived at her brother's apartment 2 hours after Dorothy's call. She rang the bell repeatedly until he finally answered, his face tired and eyes red. "Jennifer, what are you doing here?" "What am I doing here?" "The question is what you did at the hospital today." Michael lowered his head and let his sister in. The apartment was a mess with clothes scattered on the floor and dirty dishes in the sink. "I already heard everything, Michael. Dorothy told me. I don't want to talk about it." "Oh, we're talking. Sit down and explain to me what kind of madness made you ask Jessica for a divorce on the same day she had the babies." Michael collapsed onto the couch and covered his face with his hands. "I can't do it, Jennifer. I can't afford 3 kids. It was already hard with just the 2 of us. Now with 5 people in the family, it's impossible." "Michael, you've worked at the same company for 8 years. You have a steady job, a good salary." "Good? Jennifer, do you know how much it costs to raise a child? Now multiply that by 3. Diapers, formula, clothes, doctors, medicine. And when they grow up, private school, English lessons, college. You're thinking about the kids at 20 when they were just born today. I'm thinking about reality. I can't give them a good life." Jennifer sat beside her brother. She'd known Michael since he was little, and she knew that behind that coldness was a lot of fear. "Michael, what's really going on? Because I know it's not just about money." He stayed silent for a long time, staring out the apartment window. Outside, life went on as usual. Cars drove down the street, people walked on the sidewalks, kids played in the park across the way. "Remember our dad?" he asked suddenly. "Of course I remember. Remember how he changed when he lost his job? How he started drinking? How he treated us?" Jennifer understood where the conversation was going. Their father had gone through a very tough time when they were kids. He lost his job at a factory and couldn't find another one. He started drinking, became aggressive, and for 2 years their home was hell. "Michael, you're not our father." "How can you be sure? What if I can't handle it? What if I start drinking like he did? What if I turn into a terrible father?" "You're afraid of repeating Dad's mistakes." "I'm terrified, Jennifer. Every time I look at those babies, I see the possibility of ruining their lives. I'd rather walk away now than disappoint everyone later." Jennifer hugged her brother. She finally understood what was really happening. It wasn't selfishness or irresponsibility. It was pure fear of not being a good father. "Have you thought about talking to someone about this? A therapist?" "What for? To talk about my problems while Jessica is alone with 3 babies?" "Exactly for that reason. Because running away won't solve anything, and you're abandoning the woman you love right when she needs you most." Michael stood up and walked to the window. In the playground across the street, a father was playing with his 2 young kids. The man smiled, helped them on the slide, picked them up when they fell. "What if I can't be like that? What if I don't have the patience? What if I don't know how to handle them?" "No one is born knowing how to be a father, Michael. You learn by doing, by making mistakes and getting it right. What if I mess up too much? Then you ask for help, apologize, and try again. But you don't walk away." Jennifer grabbed her purse. I'll give you 24 hours to think. After that, either you go back to the hospital and talk to Jessica, or I'll tell her everything you said today myself. Jennifer, 24 hours, Michael. And think about this. Jessica is scared too. She also doesn't know how she'll manage, but at least she's not running away. Back at the hospital, Jessica had managed to bathe all 3 babies with the help of Mrs. Ruth and 2 nurses. It was a job that usually required 4 hands, but with 3 babies at once, it felt like they needed 12. See? It's not so hard, Mrs. Ruth said, drying little Ethan. The first week is always the toughest, but you'll get the hang of it. Mrs. Ruth, can I ask you something? Of course, dear. How did you manage when your husband left? Mrs. Ruth stopped drying the baby and looked at Jessica with kindness. I cried a lot at first. Then I got up, wiped my tears, and fought. I had no choice. 6 kids depended on me. Did it work out? Well, it wasn't easy. There were days when all we had was rice, nights when I only slept 3 hours because one of the boys was sick. But now they're all good men and women, working, studying, starting families. Weren't you angry? Oh, I was for a long time, but then I realized the anger was only hurting me. He was already gone, so why keep dwelling on it? Emma started crying, and Jessica immediately picked her up. It was amazing how she could already tell their cries apart. Emma's was higher pitched, Ethan's deeper, and William made funny little noises before really crying. Mrs. Ruth, can I ask you a favor? Of course. Do you know anyone who can help me with a lawyer? I need to make sure Michael pays child support. I do. My granddaughter Brittany is a lawyer. She works at a firm nearby. I can call her if you'd like. Please, I need to protect myself and my kids. Mrs. Ruth took out her phone and dialed. Brittany, it's Grandma. I'm here at the hospital with a girl who needs help with divorce and child support. Can you come here? While waiting for the lawyer to arrive, Jessica was trying to gather her thoughts. In less than 12 hours, her life had been turned upside down. From a married woman expecting children, she had become a single mother of triplets. Dr. Richard entered the room to perform routine checkups on the babies. How are the moms doing? He asked, checking Emma's vitals. We're fine, doctor, but I have a question about the birth certificate. Go ahead. The father doesn't want to acknowledge the children. Can I register them alone? Dr. Richard stopped what he was doing and looked at Jessica with concern. Yes, you can register them alone, but legally he'll still be the biological father. That means he has obligations, including child support. Even if he doesn't want to. Fatherhood isn't about wanting or not wanting. It's about biology and legal responsibility. Brittany arrived at the hospital in the late afternoon. She was a 35-year-old woman with curly hair tied in a bun, wearing a navy blue suit. She carried a leather briefcase and had the air of someone who knew exactly what she was doing. Jessica, I'm Brittany, Mrs. Ruth's granddaughter. She told me about your situation. Thank you for coming. I don't even know where to start. Let's start with the basics. Are you sure you want a divorce? The question caught Jessica off guard. Until that moment, she had just been reacting to events. She hadn't stopped to think if she really wanted the divorce. Actually, I don't know. He's the one who brought the papers. I didn't even have time to think. Then don't sign anything yet. First, let's talk about your rights and options. Brittany sat in the chair beside the bed and opened her briefcase. What's your marital property arrangement? Partial shared ownership. Do you have shared assets? The apartment we live in and a car. Is the apartment in both your names? Yes. Good. That means you're entitled to half of everything, regardless of the divorce. And as for the children, he'll have to pay child support even if he doesn't initially acknowledge paternity. How so? There's a DNA test. If he refuses to take it, the judge can still establish paternity, and child support is calculated based on his income. Jessica felt a little relieved. At least her children wouldn't be left financially helpless. What do you think my next step should be? First, don't sign the divorce papers yet. Second, I'll file for temporary support. Third, we'll register the children's birth with the father's name even if he's not present. Can I do that? Yes. You're married to him, so there's a presumption of paternity. He'll have to prove he's not the father if he wants to contest it. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot as we're just starting out. Now, continuing. That night, Jessica was alone in the hospital room for the first time since the babies were born. The nurses had taken Emma, Ethan, and William to the nursery so she could rest for a few hours. But she couldn't sleep. She lay there staring at the ceiling, thinking about what her life would be like from now on. How would she work with 3 small babies? Who would take care of them when she was away? How could she afford a babysitter for 3 children? She picked up her phone and called her mother in Rochester. "Mom, it's me. Jess, how are my grandbabies? I'm dying to meet them." Jessica didn't have the heart to tell her about the divorce over the phone. Her mother was sick and didn't need more worries. "They're fine, Mom. 3 beautiful, healthy babies. And Michael. He must be over the moon with 3 kids at once." "Yes, Mom. Listen, are you feeling better? Did the doctor say anything about you being able to travel?" "Oh, sweetheart, not yet. The doctor said I need to avoid stress and long trips for a few more weeks. But as soon as he clears me, I'll come help you." "Okay, Mom, take care of your health. Give Michael and my grandbabies a kiss for me." Jessica Wilson hung up the phone with a heavy heart. She didn't want to lie to her mother, but she also didn't want to worry her. The next morning, Dorothy arrived for her shift and went straight to check on Jessica. "How are you, sweetie? Did you sleep well?" "Not really. I've been thinking about a lot of things." "And Michael? Any news?" "Nothing. I think he's made up his mind." "Well, life goes on. You're strong. You'll get through this." Dorothy was organizing the medications when the phone at the nursing station rang. "Williamsburg Community Hospital, Dorothy speaking." "Dorothy? It's Jennifer. I talked to my brother yesterday. Can I come up to speak with Jessica?" "Of course. She's awake." 15 minutes later, Jennifer knocked on the hospital room door. Jessica recognized her immediately. Michael always said the two looked alike, and they really did. Same brown eyes, same face shape. "Jessica, I'm Jennifer, Michael's sister. Can I come in?" "Of course, come in." Jennifer walked over to the bed where Jessica was breastfeeding William. "First, I want to apologize for what my brother did. It was unforgivable." "You don't have to apologize for him." "Yes, I do, because we were raised by the same mother, and our mother didn't raise any of her children to abandon their family." Jennifer sat in the chair beside the bed. "Jessica, I talked to him yesterday. What he did was wrong, but I can explain what's going on in his head." "You don't need to explain. He made himself very clear. He doesn't want to support 3 kids. It's not that, or at least not just that." Jennifer told Jessica about her conversation with Michael, about his fear of repeating his father's mistakes, about his terror of not being a good father to the 3 babies. "That doesn't excuse what he did," Jessica said when Jennifer finished. "I'm scared too. Everyone gets scared when they become a parent, but you don't walk away because of it. You're right, he's wrong, but I wanted you to know it's not about a lack of love for you, it's just fear. And what do you think I should do with that information?" "I don't know. I just thought you had the right to know the truth." William finished nursing, and Jessica burped him. Jennifer looked at her nephew with affection and felt a pang of sadness. How could Michael abandon such tiny, helpless beings? "Jessica, can I help you with anything? Money, babysitting, anything?" "I'm okay for now, but thank you for offering. Let me give you my number. If you need anything, call me, day or night." "Jennifer, can I ask you something?" "Of course." "Do you think there's any chance he'll change his mind?" Jennifer was silent for a moment, thinking. "Honestly, I think so, but I don't know how long it'll take." "Oh, and you can't wait forever." "I won't. I've already talked to a lawyer. I'll take care of myself and my kids." "You're right. And no matter what happens with Michael, you can always count on me." Jennifer said goodbye and left the hospital deep in thought. She needed to have another talk with her brother, a firmer one this time. By late morning, Dr. Richard returned to the room to let Jessica know she and the babies were being discharged. "Everyone's doing well and can go home, but I want to see you back here next week for a follow-up." "Doctor, can I ask you something? Is it normal for triplets to be born so healthy?" "It's not common, but it happens. You got lucky." Emma, Ethan, and William were born at a good weight and had no complications. Jessica got dressed and organized the baby's things. Dorothy and Mrs. Ruth helped carry everything to the taxi she had called. "If anything happens, you come right back here," Dorothy said. "We're rooting for you." "Thank you for everything. You've been angels in my life." The taxi stopped in front of the building where Jessica lived with Michael. It was a simple 4-story building with no elevator. They lived on the 3rd floor. The taxi driver helped carry the babies and luggage upstairs. When Jessica opened the apartment door, reality hit her hard. This was still the home she shared with Michael. His clothes were still in the closet, his books on the shelf, his coffee cup in the sink. But now she was alone there, with 3 babies. The apartment had 2 small bedrooms, a living room that also served as a kitchen, and a bathroom. In the couple's bedroom there was a crib set up beside the bed, but just one crib. For 3 babies. Jessica placed Emma in the crib and improvised little beds for Ethan and William, with pillows and blankets on the floor next to the bed. It wasn't ideal, but it would have to do for now. On their first night home, she barely slept. The babies woke up at different times to feed, and when one stopped crying, another started. By 4 in the morning, she was exhausted and starting to panic. That's when the doorbell rang. Jessica looked through the peephole and saw Jennifer standing at the door holding a bag. "Jennifer, what are you doing here?" "I saw the light on and figured you might need help." "But it's 4 in the morning." "Exactly. First night home with triplets. No one sleeps." Jennifer stepped inside and took in the scene. Jessica was clearly exhausted, holding 2 babies while trying to soothe all 3 at once. "Let me help. I brought coffee and bread for breakfast." "You don't have to do this." "Yes, I do. They're my nephews, even if my brother's an idiot." Jennifer picked up William and quickly calmed him down. She had experience with babies from helping friends with their kids. "Jessica, you need to set up a routine. With 3 babies, if you don't stay organized, you'll lose your mind." "What do you mean by routine?" "Scheduled feeding times, naps, baths, everything timed. And you need help. You can't do this alone." "I can't afford a nanny." "It doesn't have to be a professional. It could be a neighbor, a friend, someone from the family." Jessica thought about her options. She didn't have many close friends. Her mother was sick, and she barely knew the neighbors. "I'll figure something out. For now, get some sleep. I'll stay with them." "Jennifer, you have work tomorrow." "I took the day off. Go to sleep." Jessica went to the bedroom and finally managed to sleep for 3 straight hours. When she woke up, she found Jennifer in the living room feeding Emma while Ethan and William slept peacefully on the couch. "How did you get them to sleep at the same time?" "Aunt's secret trick. Gave them all baths, fed them well, and now they'll sleep for about 4 hours. Jennifer, I don't know how to thank you." "No need, they're family." Jennifer made breakfast, and they sat down to talk while the babies slept. "Jessica, can I ask you something personal?" "Of course." "Do you still love Michael?" The question caught Jessica off guard. She had been so focused on anger and disappointment that she hadn't stopped to think about her feelings. "I don't know. I haven't processed everything yet. Because if you still love him, maybe it's worth trying to talk to him." "Jennifer, he abandoned me at the hospital. He handed me divorce papers just hours after our children were born. How can I forgive that?" "I'm not saying forgive. I'm saying talk. Find out what's going on in his head. And if he sticks to his decision, then you move on with your life. But at least you tried." Jessica kept thinking about the suggestion. Part of her wanted to try to save the marriage, especially for the baby's sake, but another part was filled with anger and wounded pride. "I'll think about what you said." "All right, but don't take too long to decide. The more time passes, the harder it'll get." Jennifer stayed with Jessica until late afternoon, helping with the babies and teaching her some tricks for handling triplets. When she left, she handed her an envelope with money. "For diapers and formula," she said when Jessica tried to refuse. "I can't accept this." "Yes, you can. It's from their aunt and uncle to their nieces and nephews." That night, Jessica managed to organize the routine better. She bathed all 3 babies at once, fed them before bedtime, and even got a few hours of sleep. The next day, she received a call from Brittany, her lawyer. "Jessica, I have updates on your case. What kind of updates? I filed for temporary child support yesterday. Michael will be notified to respond within 5 days. What does that mean? It means he'll have to say whether he agrees to pay voluntarily or if he wants to contest it. If he contests it, we'll do a DNA test. And if he just disappears? Then things get more complicated but not impossible. There are legal measures for enforcing child support. Jessica felt calmer knowing her rights were being defended. Brittany, do you think I should try talking to him before the legal process moves forward? Legally, it doesn't matter. But personally, it might be good, especially if you can reach an agreement. I'll think about it. That afternoon, while the babies slept, Jessica picked up her phone and stared at Michael's number. Should she call? What would she say? How would she even start the conversation? She decided to text first. Michael, we need to talk about the kids. When can you? The reply came 2 hours later. We have nothing to talk about. My decision is final. Jessica felt anger rising. How could he be so cold, so heartless? She typed several responses but deleted them all. Finally, she sent just, "Your children need their father, think about that." This time, the reply took longer, but when it came, it was even colder. "They're not my kids. Sign the divorce papers." Jessica locked her phone in the drawer and cried for the first time since everything had happened. She cried from disappointment, loneliness, and fear of the future. But mostly she cried for her children, who were growing up without a father because of his selfishness and cowardice. When Emma woke up crying, Jessica dried her tears and went to care for her daughter. There was no time for self-pity. 3 children depended entirely on her. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot as we're just starting out. Now, continuing. The following week, Jessica took the babies for their checkup at the hospital. Dr. Richard was impressed with their progress. They're all doing great, gaining weight properly, no signs of issues. Doctor, is it normal for me to feel so exhausted? Completely normal. You're breastfeeding 3 babies and getting little sleep. Your body is working triple time. What about going back to work? When can I consider that? I recommend at least 3 months of leave. The babies are still very small and need you. Jessica left the hospital worried. 3 months without work meant 3 months without pay. Even with Michael's child support, if he agreed to pay, it wouldn't be enough to support 4 people. On the way home, she stopped at the grocery store for diapers and formula. In the checkout line, she overheard a conversation between 2 women behind her. "Do you see that woman over there?" One of them whispered quietly. "I do." "What about her?" "She's my cousin's neighbor. She had triplets, and her husband abandoned her at the hospital." "I can't believe it. What kind of man does that?" "I know." "Poor thing is raising all 3 alone." Jessica felt her face grow hot. She knew people would talk about her situation, but hearing it directly was embarrassing. She quickly paid for her groceries and left the supermarket. At the door, she ran into Mrs. Rose, an elderly neighbor who lived in the apartment next to hers. "Jessica, how are the babies doing?" "They're fine, Mrs. Rose, growing a lot." "And you? Are you managing everything on your own?" "I'm trying." Mrs. Rose looked at her kindly. She was 70 years old, a widow for 10 years, and lived alone in the small apartment next to Jessica's. "Sweetheart, if you need anything, just call me. I'm always home." "Thank you, Mrs. Rose. That's very kind of you." "It's not kindness, it's solidarity between women. I've been through tough times myself, and I know how important it is to have someone to lean on." When she got home, Jessica found an envelope under the door. It was from the company where Michael worked. She opened it nervously, thinking it might be some legal notice, but it was a letter from the HR manager, Susan Baker. "Dear Jessica, I heard about your situation through office chatter. As a mother of 2, I can only imagine how hard this must be for you. The company has an assistance program for employees and their families in vulnerable situations. I'd like to talk to you about possible support. Please call me when you're available. Sincerely, Susan Baker." Jessica was surprised by the kindness. She hadn't expected Michael's company to reach out, let alone in such a caring way. She called Susan the next day. "Susan, it's Jessica Wilson, Michael's wife." "Jessica, thanks for calling. How are you holding up?" "Okay, given the circumstances." "Look, I know things are tough. Michael took unpaid leave last week, and some co-workers mentioned what happened." "Unpaid leave?" "Yes. He said he needed to handle personal matters. You didn't know?" "No, we haven't been speaking." Susan hesitated, realizing she'd touched on a sensitive topic. "I'm sorry, Jessica, I didn't realize things were so complicated." "It's fine. What's this assistance program you mentioned?" "The company has funds to help employees and their families in emergencies. We can assist with medical costs, groceries, baby essentials. But I'm not an employee." "No, but you're the wife of one, and the babies are his children." "Even with Michael on leave?" "Yes, he's still employed here." Jessica accepted the help, even though it made her uncomfortable. Pride didn't pay for diapers or buy milk. "Susan, can I ask where Michael is? He's not at the apartment." "I don't know, Jessica. Since he went on leave, we haven't heard from him." "Thanks for the help and the info." "Of course. And Jessica, if you need anything, just call." Jessica hung up, puzzled. Michael had taken leave from work. Why? Where was he? What was he doing? She decided to call Jennifer. "Jennifer, it's Jessica. Do you know where your brother is?" "No, why?" "I heard he took leave from work, thought you might know something." "I don't. Haven't spoken to him since our last talk. But I can try to find out. If you hear anything, call me." "Of course." 2 hours later, Jennifer called back. "Jessica, I got hold of him." "And?" "He's at our aunt's place in Long Beach. Said he needed time to think." "Think about what?" "He wouldn't say. But from his tone, I could tell he's not doing well." "Jennifer, do you think I should go after him?" "Honestly, I don't think so. If he wanted to talk, he would have reached out. Let him take the first step." "You're right. Jessica, how are you? Do you need anything?" "I'm okay. Mrs. Rose, my neighbor, has been helping me a lot, and Michael's company offered some support." "That's good. I feel better knowing you have help." At the end of the week, Brittany called with news about the case. "Jessica, Michael was notified yesterday. He has until Monday to respond." "And if he doesn't?" "Then the judge will automatically set the alimony amount based on his last salary." "How much would it be?" "At least 30% of his net pay for the three of them." "And if he refuses to pay?" "Then it goes to court. He could even be arrested for unpaid child support." Jessica didn't want Michael to go to jail, but she also needed to provide for her kids. "Brittany, do you think he'll pay voluntarily?" "I don't know. It depends on how much he's matured these days." On Monday, Brittany called again. "Jessica," Michael responded. "And?" "He agrees to pay child support but wants a DNA test first." "Why a DNA test?" "He knows they're his kids. He's probably trying to buy time, or maybe he wants absolute certainty before taking responsibility." "How long does the test take?" "About a week. But here's something interesting. He deposited the full child support amount as a guarantee." "What do you mean?" "He put 3 months' worth of payments into the court's account. It shows he intends to pay." Jessica was confused by Michael's actions. Why pay if he was denying paternity? On Tuesday, she got an unexpected call. It was Aunt Deborah from Long Beach, where Michael was staying. "Jessica, it's Deborah, Michael's aunt." "Hi, Aunt Deborah. How are you?" "I'm fine, dear. But I'm worried about Michael." "Why?" "He's been here a week and won't leave his room. He barely eats, doesn't talk, just stares at the ocean through the window." "Auntie, I don't know what I can do. He's the one who chose to leave." "Jessica, can I tell you something?" He spent the whole night looking at pictures of the babies on his phone. Pictures? What pictures? The ones Jennifer sent him, of the babies in the hospital at home, sleeping. Jessica was surprised. Jennifer hadn't mentioned sending Michael photos. "Aunt Deborah, what do you think I should do?" "I think you two should talk. No fighting, no accusations, just talk. He doesn't want to talk to me. Yes, he does, but he's ashamed of what he did. He knows he messed up and doesn't know how to fix it. What if I go there and he turns me away? He won't, trust me. Jessica spent the day thinking about her talk with Aunt Deborah. Should she really go after Michael? And the babies? How could she take 3 little ones on a trip to Long Beach? That night, she called Jennifer. Jennifer, your aunt called me today. Aunt Deborah, what did she say? That Michael's not doing well, that he won't leave his room, that he keeps looking at pictures of the babies? Jessica, he asked me for the photos, said he wanted to see how they were doing. Why didn't you tell me? Because I thought it'd give you false hope. I didn't want you to hurt more. Jennifer, your aunt thinks I should go talk to him. And do you want to? I don't know. Part of me wants to try one more time. The other part is afraid of being rejected again. Jessica, can I give my opinion? Of course, go. But be ready for any reaction. If it works out, great. If not, at least you tried and can move on without wondering, what if? And the babies? Take them with you. Maybe seeing his kids up close will make Michael come to his senses. You think so? I do. A father who spends all night looking at pictures of his kids isn't one who doesn't care. Jessica decided to go. On Wednesday morning, she got everything ready to travel with the 3 babies. Mrs. Rose offered to help carry their things to the taxi. You're doing the right thing, dear, the neighbor said. Families should stick together, especially when there are little ones. The bus ride to Long Beach was a challenge. Emma cried almost the whole way. Ethan threw up on his clothes, and William only stopped making noise when he was nursing. The other passengers gave disapproving looks, and Jessica felt embarrassed. When she arrived at the Long Beach bus station, she called Aunt Deborah. Auntie, it's Jessica. I'm here in Long Beach. Oh, how wonderful, dear. Where are you? At the bus station, with the babies. Goodness, you brought all 3? I'll come pick you up by car. You can't take the bus with 3 babies. Aunt Deborah arrived 20 minutes later. She was a 60-year-old woman with graying hair and a warm smile. She helped Jessica settle the babies in the car. They're beautiful, Jessica, just like Michael when he was little. Auntie, does he know I'm coming? No. I thought it best not to say anything. Let it be a surprise. What if he gets angry? He will. First he'll be angry, then he'll be happy. I've known my nephew since he was tiny. Aunt Deborah's house was on a quiet street, 2 blocks from the beach. It was a simple home with a small backyard and a porch facing the ocean. Michael's in the upstairs bedroom, she explained as she helped unload the car. I'll call him down. Auntie, let me go up. It's better if we talk in private first. Jessica picked up William and climbed the stairs. The room where Michael was staying was at the end of the hallway. The door was slightly ajar. She knocked lightly and pushed it open. Michael was sitting on the bed, his back to the door, looking out the window. When he heard the noise, he turned and nearly fell off the bed. Jessica, what are you doing here? I came to talk, and I brought someone you should meet. She walked into the room carrying William. The baby was awake, looking around curiously. Michael froze, staring at his son. It was the first time he'd seen the baby since the hospital. This is William, Jessica said, moving closer to the bed. Do you want to hold him? I don't know. What if I hurt him? You won't. He's tougher than he looks. Michael timidly held out his arms, and Jessica placed William in his father's lap. The baby looked up at Michael with wide eyes and made a little noise that sounded like a smile. He's so small, Michael murmured, his voice breaking. They were born at almost 6 pounds each. For triplets, that's excellent. How are Emma and Ethan? They're downstairs with your aunt. All 3 are healthy, growing well. Michael kept looking at William as if witnessing a miracle. The baby grabbed his father's finger and held on tight. Jessica, I'm sorry. For what I did at the hospital, it was unforgivable. Why did you do it, Michael? Because I'm a coward. I was afraid I couldn't be a good father to them. And now? Are you still afraid? I'm terrified. But I realized running away doesn't fix anything. It only makes things worse. William started to whimper and Michael panicked. What do I do? Why is he crying? Relax, he's probably hungry. I'll go downstairs to get his bottle. No, stay here. Let me try to calm him. Michael began rocking William gently and speaking softly to him. To Jessica's surprise, the baby settled almost immediately. How did you do that? I don't know. Instinct, maybe. They sat in silence for a while, just looking at William. Finally, Jessica asked, Michael, what do you want? Truly. I want to come home. I want to know my children. I want to be the father they deserve. What about the divorce? I don't want a divorce anymore. I want to try again if you'll let me. Michael, you hurt me so much. It won't be easy to rebuild trust. I know, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes. Whatever it takes includes therapy. It does. Does it include taking financial responsibility? It does. In fact, I've already deposited 3 months of child support with the court. And does it include never abandoning us again when things get tough? I'll never leave you again. I promise. Jessica looked at Michael holding William and felt her heart soften just a little. She was still hurt, still angry, but she also still loved her husband. Let's go downstairs so you can meet Emma and Ethan, she finally said. In the living room, Aunt Deborah was playing with Emma and Ethan, who were lying on a blanket on the floor. When they saw Michael coming down the stairs with Jessica and William, Emma started crying. She's not used to you, Jessica explained. She's not used to men. Michael knelt on the floor beside the other 2 babies. Ethan watched him curiously, but Emma kept crying. Can I hold her? You can, but she'll cry a little at first. Michael carefully picked Emma up. The little girl did cry for a few minutes, but then she calmed down and stared at her father intently. She has Jessica's eyes, Aunt Deborah remarked. And Michael's nose, Jessica added. Ethan, who had been left alone on the blanket, started fussing. Jessica picked him up, and there they were, the 4 of them, Michael with Emma and William, Jessica with Ethan. Looks like a real family, Aunt Deborah said, emotional. That afternoon, Michael had his first real experience with fatherhood. He helped bathe the babies, change diapers, and give bottles. It was hard at first, but he got the hang of it. It's a lot of work, he commented, once they finally got all 3 to sleep at the same time. That's why you need 2 parents, Jessica replied, to share the work and take turns. Jessica, I'm really sorry for abandoning you. There's no excuse for what I did. Michael, can I ask you something? Of course. When you look at them now, do you still feel afraid? I do, but it's a different kind of fear. Before I was afraid I couldn't be a good father. Now I'm afraid of losing them. That's a healthier fear. It is. Yes. All parents are afraid of losing their children. It shows you care about them. Michael moved closer to Jessica on the couch. What about us? Do you think you can forgive me? I don't know, Michael. I'll need time, and you'll have to earn my trust again. How much time? I don't know. Maybe months, maybe years. I'll wait as long as it takes. They stayed at Aunt Deborah's house for a few days, giving Michael time to get used to the babies and for the 2 of them to talk about the future. The conversations were hard, with brutal honesty on both sides. Michael talked about his childhood trauma, his fear of repeating his father's mistakes. Jessica talked about the loneliness she felt in the hospital, the desperation of those first nights alone with the babies. Jessica, can I ask you something? Go ahead. Will you drop the divorce papers? I'll drop the case, but I won't tear up the papers. Why not? Because if you leave me again, I won't give you a second chance. Fair enough. On Sunday, they all returned to New York together. Michael helped carry the babies and the luggage, and during the entire bus ride, he stayed attentive to the children's needs. When they got to the apartment, the first thing Michael did was buy 2 new cribs, so each baby would have their own space. He also rearranged the room to better accommodate their growing family. I'll sleep on the couch for now, he said. Why? Because I don't want to pressure you. You said you need time to trust me again. I'll respect that. Jessica was surprised by Michael's mature attitude. This wasn't the same man who had asked for a divorce just weeks before. In the first week after returning, Michael went back to work but negotiated a flexible schedule so he could help more at home. He woke up early to split the feedings with Jessica, took the babies for walks in the late afternoon, and completely took over the nightly baths. How did you learn all this so fast? Jessica asked one night after he managed to get all three to sleep in less than an hour. I bought some books on baby care and watched a bunch of YouTube videos. You studied to be a dad? I did. I realized I knew nothing about taking care of kids and needed to learn. 2 weeks after their return, Michael suggested they go together to the baby's first routine checkup. At Dr. Richard's office, the doctor was surprised to see Michael there. "It's good to see the father here," he remarked while examining Emma. "Doctor, can I ask a few questions about their development?" Michael asked. "Of course. Is it normal for them to be so different? Emma is more active, Ethan is calmer, William just observes everything." "Completely normal. Even though they're triplets, they're different people with their own personalities." "What about feeding?" "William eats less than the other two." "Also normal. Every baby has their own pace and needs." Jessica watched Michael asking questions and realized just how involved he truly was with their children. It wasn't an act or an obligation. It was genuine interest. At the end of the appointment, Dr. Richard called them aside for a private talk. "How are you handling the routine with triplets?" "It's tough, but we're managing," Michael replied. "And your relationship? How is it?" "We're rebuilding," Jessica said. "We went through a serious crisis, but we're trying to work it out. I recommend couples therapy. Triplets can be very stressful for any relationship, and you've already been through a traumatic situation." "I'm already in individual therapy," Michael added, "and I agree it would be good for us to do it together too." A month after returning from Long Beach, Jessica woke up in the middle of the night and didn't find Michael on the living room couch. Worried, she went to the baby's room and found him sitting in a chair between the three cribs just watching them sleep. "Michael, is everything okay?" "Yeah, I just couldn't sleep and came to see them." "Does something happen when you can't sleep?" "I keep thinking about how I almost lost all this, how stupid I was." Jessica sat in the chair beside him. "You didn't lose it. You're here now." "Jessica, can I ask you something?" "Of course." "Are you happy?" "What do you mean? Are you happy I'm back? Or are you just tolerating me for the kids?" Jessica thought for a moment before answering. "I'm happy, Michael. Still hurt, still rebuilding trust, but happy." "Are you sure?" "I am. You're being an amazing father, and you're trying so hard to earn my trust back. And when do you think you'll trust me completely again? When I can look at you and not remember the day you abandoned me at the hospital? And how do I make that happen? Keep being the man you are now, every day, without exception." 2 weeks after that conversation, something happened that tested Michael's promise. William got sick with a high fever and had to be rushed to the hospital. "Jessica, grab William's things. I'll take him to the car," Michael said, staying calm despite visible nerves. "What about Emma and Ethan?" "Call Mrs. Rose to stay with them. I'll call Dr. Richard on the way." At the hospital, William was seen quickly. It was just a virus, but for first-time parents with a 2-month-old, any fever was cause for panic. "He'll be fine," Dr. Richard reassured them. "It's normal for babies to get these viruses. The immune system is still developing." "Doctor, could the fever get worse?" asked Michael, clearly worried. "It could, but we'll medicate to control it. You can take him home, but keep up with the medicine and stay alert." On the way home, Michael drove slowly and checked on William in the rearview mirror every 2 minutes. "He's fine, Michael. You can relax." "How can you stay so calm?" "Experience. My mother always said sick kids are part of life. We worry, take good care of them, and most of the time, everything turns out fine." That night, Michael didn't sleep. He kept watch over William the whole time, taking his temperature every hour, making sure he was breathing normally. "Michael, go rest a little. I'll take over now." "I can't relax. What if the fever spikes? What if he gets worse?" "If that happens, we'll go back to the hospital. But look at him, he's sleeping peacefully, breathing fine. The fever's already gone down." "Jessica, when you were little and got sick, was your father like this?" "I don't remember much about my father. He passed away when I was 8. But my mother was. She'd stay up all night when I was sick. Is that what parents do? That's what parents do. William recovered in 3 days, but the episode left a deep mark on Michael. He realized just how much he loved his children and how far he was willing to go for them. Jessica, now I understand why you were so hurt by me. Why? Because when you love someone like this, the thought of abandoning them is unbearable, and I abandoned all 4 of you. But you came back. I did, but I almost lost everything. If you hadn't come to get me in Long Beach, I don't think I would have had the courage to come back alone. Why not? Because I thought you hated me, that you'd never forgive me. And now, are you sure I've forgiven you? Not yet, but I have hope. In the 3rd month after the triplets were born, Jessica went back to work part-time. Michael arranged with his company to work from home some days to help with the kids. Mrs. Rose offered to watch the babies for a few hours each day, and they hired a young woman named Ashley to help during the other times. You two are managing well, Jennifer remarked during a Sunday visit. It's working, Jessica agreed, but it's exhausting. And how about you two? How's the relationship? Jessica and Michael exchanged a glance. Better, said Michael. We're still in couples therapy, but it's better. Trust is coming back, little by little, Jessica added. And what about sharing a room? Jennifer asked bluntly. Jennifer, Michael protested. What? You're married adults with 3 kids. It's a normal question. We're still sleeping apart, Jessica said. But it's my choice. I'm not ready yet. And you respect that? Jennifer asked Michael. Of course, I won't push her. When she's ready, she'll tell me. Jennifer smiled, satisfied with the answer. You're on the right path. In the 4th month, the moment Jessica had been waiting for arrived. It was a Friday night. The babies had gone to bed early and they were watching a movie in the living room. Michael? Can I ask you something? Sure. Are you happy? I am. Very happy. Why? Because I'm happy too, and I realized I don't remember the pain I felt when you left us anymore. Michael paused the movie and looked at Jessica. What do you mean? When I look at you now, I don't see the man who handed me divorce papers at the hospital anymore. I see the father who wakes up in the middle of the night to care for our kids. I see the man who studied to learn how to be a dad. I see the husband who's fighting to earn back my trust. And that means... It means I trust you again, completely. Michael got emotional and hugged Jessica. Are you sure? I am. And it also means you can come back to our room if you want. I do, very much. That night, Michael slept in the couple's bedroom for the first time in 4 months. It wasn't an immediate physical reconciliation, but it was the beginning of a new phase in their relationship. Jessica. Thank you. For what? For not giving up on me. For coming to get me in Long Beach. For giving me a second chance. Thank you for coming back, and for becoming the man I always knew you could be. By the 6th month, the babies had settled into a rhythm. Emma, Ethan, and William were healthy, happy children. Emma had become the most outgoing, Ethan the most observant, and William the most affectionate. Michael had become a completely devoted father. He knew every cry, every expression, every need of his children. Jessica was amazed by the transformation. You know what impresses me most about you? She said one evening. What? How naturally you became a father, like you always knew what to do. Because I really want to be a good dad to them. And you are. You're an amazing father. I learned from you, watching how you care for them. We make a good team. We do. And Jessica, yes, I love you, more than I did before, because now I know what it means to almost lose someone. I love you too. And you know why? Why? Because you proved people can change, that they can grow, that they can become the best version of themselves when they really want to. On the triplets' first birthday, they threw a simple party at home. Jennifer, Aunt Deborah, Mrs. Rose, Susan from Michael's company, and a few others who had helped during that first year were there. A toast, Michael said, raising his glass of soda, to Emma, Ethan, and William, who completely transformed our lives. And to Jessica, Jennifer added, who didn't give up on this family when it would have been easier to walk away. And to Michael, said Aunt Deborah, who learned that being a father is about courage, not about never being afraid. Emma took her first steps that day, straight toward her father. Ethan said his first recognizable daddy. William managed to stand on his own for nearly a minute. They're growing up so fast, Jessica remarked, watching them play on the living room floor. And so are we, Michael replied. We've grown as parents, as a couple, as people. Do you regret anything that happened? Michael thought for a moment. I regret leaving you. I'll always regret that. But I don't regret going through this experience. Why? Because it made me grow. It made me understand what really matters. It made me fight for you. And if you had to choose again, between your career and your family, family, without hesitation, always family. That night, after everyone had left and the babies were asleep, Jessica and Michael sat on the couch, exhausted but happy. Michael, can I tell you something? Of course. Today, watching you with the kids, seeing how you've become such a devoted father, I completely forgot about the man who abandoned me at the hospital. What do you mean, forgot? To me, that man doesn't exist anymore. He died the day you came back from Long Beach. The man here now is completely different. Jessica, you saved our family. I didn't do it alone. You had to want to change too. But if you hadn't come to get me, don't think about that. What matters is we're here now, together, with our 3 beautiful, healthy children. Michael looked around the room. Toys scattered on the floor, bottles on the table, 3 high chairs in the kitchen. It was an organized mess, a full life, a real family. Jessica? Yes? When you said your actions would leave everyone speechless, you weren't kidding. What actions? Forgiving me, giving me a second chance, rebuilding our family. Why did you leave everyone speechless? Because anyone else would have sent me far away and never spoken to me again. I almost did that. Why didn't you? Because I love you, and because I believe everyone deserves a second chance, as long as they prove they've truly changed. And have I proved it? You prove it every day. Every early morning you wake up to take care of them, every diaper you change, every story you tell, every time you hold them when they cry. 2 years after the triplets were born, Jessica was pregnant again. When they found out, Michael panicked for a few minutes. Jessica, how are we going to manage? 3 little kids and another one on the way? We'll do what we've always done, together, one day at a time. But it'll be so much work, so many expenses. It will, but we'll handle it. We're a good team, remember? Michael hugged his wife and felt a peace he hadn't experienced during the first pregnancy. You're right. We can handle anything when we're together. And this time you won't run away? This time I'll be here from the first day to the last, I promise. You don't have to promise. I know you will be. Little Olivia was born when Emma, Ethan, and William were 2.5 years old. This time Michael was present during the delivery, holding Jessica's hand and crying with emotion when he saw his daughter being born. She's perfect, he whispered, holding Olivia for the first time. Are you okay? Jessica asked, watching her husband's reaction. I'm great, better than great. I'm whole. The triplets welcomed their sister with curiosity and affection. Emma wanted to carry her all the time. Ethan observed her every move, and William tried to share his toys with the baby. They're going to be great older siblings, Jennifer remarked during a visit to the hospital. They will, and Michael will be an even better father this time, Jessica said. How can you be so sure? Because this time he's not afraid. He's sure of what he can do. On the triplets' 5th birthday, the family had moved to a bigger house. Michael had been promoted at work. Jessica had started a small online business that was doing well, and all 4 children were healthy and happy. Daddy, tell us that story about when you were little, Emma asked during dinner. Which story? The one about when you and Mommy got mad at each other. Michael and Jessica exchanged a glance. The kids knew an age-appropriate, simplified version of the story. Once upon a time, there was a daddy who got very scared when you were born, Michael began. He thought he didn't know how to take care of you, right? And then he left? Ethan asked. Then he left for a little while, but Mommy went to get him, and showed him that family stays together forever. And then you weren't mad anymore? William asked. Then we learned that when you truly love someone, you forgive and start over, Jessica explained. And you'll never be mad again? Emma asked. We might get mad sometimes, sweetheart, but we'll never be apart again, Michael assured her. That night, after the kids were asleep, Michael and Jessica sat on the porch of their new house looking at the stars. Can you believe it's been 5 years? Jessica asked. It feels like yesterday and a lifetime ago at the same time. How so? It feels like yesterday because I remember every detail of those first months, but it feels like a lifetime because we've changed so much. We really have. For the better. Jessica, can I confess something? Of course. Sometimes I have nightmares about that day at the hospital. I wake up scared, thinking I lost you all. But you didn't. We're here. You are. And that's all that matters. Michael, you know what? Sometimes I'm grateful everything happened the way it did. How so? Because if you hadn't left, maybe we would have never discovered how strong we are, how strong our love is. You're right. We passed the hardest test a couple can face, and we passed with flying colors. Today, 10 years after the birth of the triplets, Emma, Ethan, and William are energetic 10-year-olds. Emma wants to be a doctor like Dr. Richard, Ethan wants to be a teacher, and William wants to be a firefighter. Olivia, now 7, hasn't decided what she wants to be when she grows up yet, but she loves to draw. Michael became one of the most involved fathers at school. He attends every meeting, party, and performance. The teachers always remark how rare it is to see a father so engaged in his children's school lives. Jessica expanded her online business and now runs a small company with 5 employees. She mostly works from home, balancing her career and motherhood well. Mum, is it true that you and Dad almost split up when we were born? Emma asked one day, now old enough to understand the story better. It's true, sweetheart. It was a very difficult time. Why did Dad want to leave? Because he was very scared. Sometimes adults make mistakes when they're afraid. But you didn't split up? No, because true love doesn't give up easily. And now you're not scared anymore? Every parent is scared, Emma. Scared of not being good enough, scared of not being able to protect their children, scared of not raising them right. But we learn to face our fears instead of running from them. Does Dad still get scared? Yes, but now he talks to me about his fears, and we work through them together. Emma grew thoughtful for a moment. Mum, when I grow up and have kids, I want to be like you. How so? I want to love my children as much as you love us, and I want to solve problems instead of running away. Jessica hugged her daughter, moved. You'll be a wonderful mother, my dear, because you've already learned the most important lesson. That family is built every day with love, patience, and perseverance. End of story. Dear listeners, what a touching story, isn't it? Michael almost lost everything because of fear, but Jessica's love and his determination to change saved this family. Now tell us, do you think Michael made the right choice by coming back? And how would you handle a situation like this? Share your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for joining us, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more heartwarming stories.